The story begins with Mark Spector being called towards this temple, and as he gets there, he meets Khonshu, the Egyptian god of the moon. Now, the reason Mark's looking for Khonshu is because Mark is in pain, and he wants help with the pain, but Khonshu lets him know that if he's to be reborn, he's gonna have to deal with the pain. Khonshu lays a chest before him, in which Mark opens and finds a suit that he puts on. And once he puts this suit on, it's flooded with a bunch of memories: a cab driver, a film producer, and the vigilante Moon Knight. All of a sudden, Mark is awakened, and he's screaming from the pain, and the memories startle him. Now, there's two men that are with him, and they quickly try to silence him and knock him out. Next thing, Mark wakes up with these two men still before him, but this time he has electric pads against his temples and something in his mouth to prevent him from choking on his own tongue, and all of a sudden he is being shocked. Mark passes out, and when he awakes, he realizes he's in a mental institution, and he's in a big room where on the TV there's a news bulletin talking about a Moon Knight sighting just the other night, and Mark wonders, how could this be? If he's Moon Knight couldn't be out there if he's in here. Now, Mark makes a friend, Mr. Crowley, who lets him know not to pay attention to the TV, that the stuff that's on the TV will continue to drive him crazy. The two men that Mark had noticed earlier that knocked him out were orderlies in this institution, and they quickly try to drag him away. But as he's walking by, he realizes one of the girls that seems familiar to him, and he even calls out to her, "Marlene," and yet there's no reply. Mark is taken to Dr. Emmett because she's found his journal in which he's been writing down that he's Moon Knight, and she's not taking well to this. She's telling him that this is a lie, that there's no way he is Moon Knight. Moon Knight is real, but he is not Moon Knight, for Mark has been in this institution ever since he was 12 years old. Mark refuses to believe this, and when he's sent to his room, he cuts up some of his bed sheets and makes a mask for himself. Now, once he has his mask on, he begins to see things as they truly are. The two orderlies that have been bullying him around, he sees them for the jackals that they are, and then tries to make quick work of them, and he beats them up to try to make his escape. And he flees to the stairwell, and once he gets to the top of the building, he gets to see outside, and he realizes it is not the New York that he once thought it was, for it seems like the Egyptian gods are trying to invade New York. But Mark does not get much time to take in and process what's going on before the jackals are after him, and eventually they tackle him down, and they start to stomp him and beat him, and they take his mask from him. But once without his mask, he begins to see things as we would probably perceive them to be, and they're just orderlies again, and the city is all but fine. They take him to see Dr. Emmett, and she explains to him that this cannot go on, that he needs to accept reality, and then they give him the electroshock therapy again. This time, he is taken into his mind, and he sees Khonshu again, and he asks Khonshu why is it that Khonshu is not helping him, and he says that it's because Khonshu is not powerful enough right now, that the god Seth is trying to take over New York, and he needs Moon Knight's help. He needs Moon Knight to escape and save the city. Now that Mark knows what he has to do, he begins to play nice. So next time he's sent into the general room where he can discuss things with the other inmates, he speaks to Mr. Crowley, who pretty much explains to him that he's like the Morgan Freeman of Shawshank, and he's the kind of guy that can get things. So Mr. Crowley says that he has a gift for him, which is his Moon Knight costume, or at least the mask. As Mark starts to suit up, Mr. Crowley goes to the other gentleman who's been helping, Jean-Paul, and tells them to assemble their crew. They're gonna make a break for it, in which they do. So the team now is Moon Knight, Mr. Crowley, Jean-Paul, Gina, and Marlene, and they make their way to escape downstairs and enter into an abandoned subway where all of a sudden they encounter mummies. Now, With an Egyptian takeover, you wouldn't be surprised that there's mummies there, but it does seem to surprise Gina because she doesn't see the mummies. She sees a bunch of orderlies after them. But they both agree either way, they're not getting taken back. So they begin to fight. And as they fight, all of a sudden, Amut, the god of judgment, no longer Dr. Emmett, comes with her two jackals to try to bring them back. But Mark punches her, trying to knock her out so that they can make their escape, and they quickly flee down towards the tunnels. There, they meet Anubis, who's going to take them safely across and outside. As Anubis does this, he demands payment in which Mr. Crawley must stay behind. So now, they're down one person as they now reach the outside. Mark sees the big pyramids, although not everyone can completely see the same thing. So they continue to walk down the street, and, well, what do you get when you have a cop and 4 crazy people? An alligator biting your friend in the neck. So now Moon Knight has to fight this crocodile who ends up being Sobek, the son of Khonshu, who is working for the god Seth, who is confirmed now to be trying to invade New York. So after Moon Knight knocks him out, they find a place to hide. It's Gina's restaurant. Who knew Gina had a restaurant? They go there, and she serves them something to eat. And all of a sudden, Marlene remembers. She remembers Moon Knight. She also remembers Stephen Grant, the film producer that Moon Knight had as one of his other identities. After they eat, Gina decides she's gonna stay in her restaurant. If she's gonna have to go, that is where she'd rather go. Mark and Marlene continue their journey alone, and as they make their way towards the pyramid, Moon Knight is struck, and when they look up to see who it is that did it, they see Moon Knight. Now, this new Moon Knight is dressed in the cape, the traditional Moon Knight outfit, and he calls for Marlene to come to him and says to leave this crazy man alone, in which our Mark does not take that so kindly, so he runs up to him and stabs him with his own weapon, but the imposter headbutts our Mark and tries to make a run for it with Marlene, and as Moon Knight tries to chase after them, he opens the door and realizes he's somewhere very different, and he's not alone. So he tries to run away, and he comes across the door in which he opens, and he runs through, but this time he's in a different place again, and all of a sudden he's being chased, this time by the 2 orderlies that were chasing him before, and as they're about to catch him, he goes through another door, which as he shuts it behind him, he realizes he's another person in another place again, and they're here with him, and as they chase him, once he goes through another door and closes it, all of a sudden he's back as Moon Knight. But this time, before him is the god Seth in chains, and he wonders why is Seth in chains, and Seth lets him know, you should know, it's your master who did this to me. Moon Knight leaves him in disbelief, and all of a sudden he comes across the imposter Moon Knight, and he asks the imposter, who is he? And the imposter says, I'll show you. And once he takes off his mask, he's revealed to be Khonshu. But Mark doesn't believe this. He wonders why is it that Khonshu would do this, and Khonshu lets him know, well, I have grown weak, and I was using you, my loyal servant, to provide me a new vessel that I may be a part of this world again. Then Mark realizes that all of this was all for Khonshu just to possess his body and take over, and Mark cannot live with this. So he runs and he jumps off the side and he's falling, and all of a sudden he dies. But that's not the end of our story. See what happens next. We see Stephen Grant sleeping. Stephen is once again one of Mark's other identities, and he wakes up to have Marlene beside him discussing a film project that they're working on, and he realizes that he's okay, and he smiles. And that is what ends the story. But we're left here wondering how much of it was real, how much of it was a dream, how much is fake, how crazy is he? Luckily for us, the story doesn't end here, and instead of it being a mini series, it's a continuing ongoing, and we'll be able to continue the adventures of Mark Spector, aka Moon Knight. I hope you liked this video. I really enjoyed reading Moon Knight. Jeff Lemire's story was very interesting and the artwork was very intriguing. It had a couple of different styles, which is because there was a couple of artists on this book, but I still liked it nonetheless. And I'm actually interested in more of Jeff Lemire's works. One of the next ones that I might read is Sweet Tooth. I actually got this from Jessi. She does reviews on books and some comics, and she had high reviews on Sweet Tooth. You should go check her video out. The link should be below down in the description. So you don't have to just take my word for it. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more content. Also, please let me know what you thought about it down below. Not just the video, but also the story. To let me know what you think of Moon Knight down below in the comments. I'd like to discuss it with you, as I do read the comments. So, please share your thoughts. Well, anyway, till next time, Brian out.